Now I said I'm making it in the UAE to put together this this presentation today. So I'd like to welcome, firstly, all our attendees. Thank you very much for attending. And I know that number just keeps going up, so that's great to see. Thank you for your involvement today. And we'd also like to thank all of our guest speakers today. As you can see, we've got an amazing lineup of guest speakers who will be speaking to you and then available to answer your questions at the end of the session. So first of all, I'd like to introduce the ambassador to the UAE for Rwanda, His Excellency Emmanuel Hatagaka, to just say a few words before we go on to the presentation. Thank you, Emmanuel. Sorry, Emmanuel.
Thank you, Sami, and I want to, first of all, dear panelists, guests, all participants following the webinar today, I want to say a very good morning to you all and a very warm welcome to our very first tourism webinar for Middle East. As we say in Arabic, Sabah al-Hel, and in Kinyarwanda we say Murahoneza. And indeed, it's a pleasure for me to be with you. And I want to thank and recognize our dear panelists today in your respected capacities. I really thank you for your time. And to all our friends and partners, all the travel agencies, both in UAE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, some of you that are following also from Oman, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for all your support for Rwanda. Fellow panelists, followers and participants, we are living in incredibly challenging times as we battle the COVID-19. And this has not only affected the lives, but also livelihoods. And as you know, again, I'm speaking to the right people, tourism and hospitality has been one of the worst hit sectors as travel came to a halt for the last 6 months. As we restart the economy, I would like to thank RDB, the Rwanda Development Board, for working with our embassy here in UAE to organize this webinar. And of course, to you, Gulf Reps, I want to thank you for hosting and facilitating our first webinar. Now, for those of you who have not visited Rwanda in the recent past, you may not know much about Rwanda, but I'll share with you some key highlights for you to remember before you package the destination or before your next visit. Just a little bit of historical background. Following the liberation of the country back in 1994, and under the visionary leadership of President Paul Kagame, a leadership characterized by inclusive, citizen-centric policies with a developmental focus, Rwanda has become, in the last 2 decades, number one, the second fastest growing economy on the African continent. Number 2, the 5th safest country globally to live in and work at night. And of course, with Kigali as the cleanest city on the continent. And number 3, Rwanda has become the first for government transparency in Africa with zero tolerance for corruption. Number 4, Rwanda has become the second in MICE destination for the African continent. So we are the second biggest host for big events and conferences on the continent. And number 5, I'll stop at that. Rwanda has become the leading in most women in parliament at 61%, and the gender balanced cabinet at 50%. Besides this, Rwanda is an evergreen, neat and clean country focused on conservation-based tourism, conscious of our environment and sustainability. As a matter of fact, Rwanda is a plastic-free country. I mean, non-biodegradable plastic bags are not allowed in the country since 2008. So if you're traveling with a plastic bag, you're given an alternative on arrival. Like all other countries in the world, Rwanda has been affected by global COVID-19 pandemic, but the country has deployed all measures necessary to stem the spread of the virus, and we continue to do so. We were the first country on the continent to implement a complete lockdown in March 2020, followed by mass testing, contact tracing, isolation, treatment, and mass awareness on hygienic practices as guided by the World Health Organization and all our health experts. Rwanda is among the very first few countries to receive the world's first ever global safety and hygiene stamp, launched recently by the World Travel and Tourism Council, as will be explained in greater detail by my colleague, Belize, the Chief Tourism Officer at Rwanda Development Board. As you know, Rwanda has reopened for tourism. Commercial flights have resumed as of August 1st, and our national flag carrier, Rwanda, connects with Dubai 3 times a week. My colleague Timothy will be taking you through what is being done to ensure your safety on board. But as you come, leisure tourists can enjoy our rich culture and natural heritage, from trekking the national majestic Gorilla Mountain, which is really our icon in the Virunga National Park, to a safari in Akagero National Park to enjoy the Big Five, and many more attractions as will be presented to you in the more elaborate presentation. During this webinar, I wish to invite you all to engage our panelists and know more about our country, a country that you should really visit soon. With our good weather all year round, our open visa regime, where you actually get your visa on arrival, regardless of the country you're coming from, any time is the best time to visit Rwanda. I want to welcome you to Rwanda. I want to thank you for your kind attention, and I look forward to more packages from our partners on board and more visitors to our country for both leisure, business, and conferences and meetings. So I want to thank you so much, and I wish you a very fruitful webinar this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. It's great to hear from you, and amazing things are happening in Rwanda. I love the idea of the plastic bags not being allowed and to have them removed on arrival. And many congratulations to Rwanda as well for the Global Safety Certificate. I think now it would be interesting to hear about the destination, about what there is to do in the destination. And so for that, I would like to introduce Ms. Belize Kariza, who is the Chief Technical Officer of Rwanda Development Board.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me fine. Thank you so much, Sami, for the introduction, but you've made me super technical, and I wish I had that hat on my head, but it's Chief Tourism Officer, actually. But thank you for the upgrade as well. So thank you so much, everyone who has joined this morning, wherever you've joined from. I'd like to first recognize our ambassador, who has really actually spearheaded this initiative. We're so excited that this actually just is happening right now. We're also very excited to have our partners on board, and we're very excited to hear all the questions, all the recommendations about the destination. And last but not least, our partners from Rwanda, Rwanda, one and only, and of course, Godfrey, who has actually put together this webinar. So very excited to be here in this really unprecedented times, but we're still pushing, we're still trying to showcase what Rwanda has to offer. So I'm very happy to be the one presenting what the destination has to offer. So without further ado, allow me to just jump into the presentation. So Sami, you help us share the screen. So first of all, of course, we all love words, we all love pictures, but video is also amazing to showcase in a snapshot what we have to offer. So please, Sami, if you could just jump quickly into the video. Sami. So a little bit of, in terms of what Rwanda has been doing in these times of COVID, and particularly when you talk about Rwanda reopening. So as of 17th of June, 2020, Rwanda reopened for domestic tourism. And we also opened in parallel international tourism, but just strictly for visitors traveling through with charter flights, both individuals or groups. And shortly after that, August 1st, 2020, we opened up for commercial flights. And of course, to ensure safety and the health of passengers, of crews, of staff, or airport operations, even the local community at large, we developed guidelines with the Ministry of Health, as well as the ICAO Council recommendation. Of course, we benchmarked ourselves from a lot of documentation from UNWTO and of course WTTC, which really help us craft guidelines that help us approach this pandemic and to be able to welcome passengers back into the country. More on the health and safety updates for COVID-19. Some of the requirements, one of the key requirements here before you get into the country is whether you're a passenger entering the country or in transit, you're required to show proof of a COVID-19 PCR negative test from a certified lab taken within 120 hours of departure to Rwanda. And of course, when you're entering the country, a second PCR test is conducted upon arrival with results delivered within 24 hours. And within that 24 hours, passengers are requested to isolate themselves in designated hotels. So far, we have 24 hotels that we have looked into, vetted, and made ready to actually accommodate the 24 hours passengers. Of course, all the resumed services have to adhere to health guidelines, including hand hygiene, mask wearing, and social distancing at all times. In terms of the protection of our wildlife, and you have to agree that Rwanda is being an ecotourism destination. Probably 90% of our products are based around wildlife. So it's very, very key that we had to sit down together with our partners, whether it's the Ministry of Health, whether it's the conservation partners, to really think about how we're going to protect our wildlife. So in coordination with all these partners, all our Central Park staff have been tested and screened to ensure the safety and health of monitoring, especially for the gorillas, but it has been done for all our national parks. And for tourists who deferred the visit to a future date, there was no penalty. We updated our booking policy, and there is no penalty, and park permits can actually be rescheduled for up to 2 years. The following item that I wanted to discuss is, if you could proceed, Sami, thank you so much. I think Ambassador mentioned it. Sorry, if you could go back one slide. Thank you so much. I think this is very important to highlight in terms of our conservation efforts. Sami is the same. Yeah, that's technology. Yes. So thank you so much. So the ambassador mentioned it in terms of how we've positioned ourselves in the conservation world, and of course we pride ourselves that we have a well-deserved global reputation when it comes to our commitment to conservation, and we've successfully managed to protect our endangered mountain gorillas and the montane rainforest habitat, which has inspired our neighboring countries to make really comparable efforts. Rwanda's gorilla and forest-based ecotourism program similarly serve the region and the world as a high-quality models for the integration of conservation and development. Sam, if you could just go back to the slide, yes. So this is a very interesting one because a lot of our partners, especially in the tourism industry, ask us, okay, show me the map. How do I get to Rwanda? So this map actually showcases that. So first of all, where is Rwanda? Rwanda is located in the Central East Africa. It is bordered by a few countries, including Burundi, Tanzania, Uganda, and the DRC. We have a population estimated at 13 million people. We have, in terms of our languages, official languages, of course, we have our mother tongue, Kinyarwanda, English, French, and Swahili. And we accept all foreign currencies, including, of course, the US dollars. And the weather, which is one of the things that we're very, very excited about, is literally spring all year round. We have a few rainy seasons, actually 2 rainy seasons, but they're not heavy seasons. They're very mild, and we're very proud of our weather, actually. The other aspect that I wanted to touch on is how to get to Rwanda. When you get to Rwanda, you have a range of airline carriers. Of course, we have Rwanda, which is a national carrier. We have Qatar Airways, KLM, Ethiopian Airlines, Brussels Airlines, Turkish Airlines, Egypt Air, Kenya Airways, and Jumbo Jet. So all of these airlines actually can support traveling to Rwanda. And recently we have started upgrading our international airport. And we actually started, or we're starting to get passengers up to 1.5 million annually. You also get a visa on arrival. The cost is $50 US. And this is one of our really great measure aspect when we revised our visa regime and allowed passengers to arrive in Rwanda and get the visa upon arrival. Thanks, Sami, if you can proceed to the next slide. You will ask yourself, why Rwanda? Why are we here to talk about Rwanda? Just to maybe touch upon what Ambassador Hategeka mentioned. Of course, the first thing is that it's the safest country in Africa. I think if you research, if you Google on that, it is one of the things that first pop up about the country. The second thing is the fact that overall in the world we're the 5th, and Kigali is one of the cleanest cities in the world. I'm actually not saying it just because I'm Rwandan and I live here, but it's one of those things that every single person that gets into Rwanda, what is the first thing that you think of Rwanda, or what is the first thing that you notice in Rwanda? Every single person that I have asked personally, they say Kigali is very clean. And it's not just Kigali, but it's the whole entire country, actually. And it's also in terms of connectivity, we have a 4G connectivity, the whole country, at least up to 98% covered in the country. It is the second easiest place to do business in Africa. And of course, we've invested in good infrastructure and transport network. Akagero Aviation do facilitate in terms of helicopter services. And of course, last but not least, we have Rwanda Air, and we've invested heavily in our airplanes. So if you also talk about specifically tourism based, or rather my pitch related to tourism, we have 15 species of primates, and one of them, of course, is the mountain gorillas. We are the home of 700 bird species, and particularly for me, this bird species element is one of the exciting one, because it has made us look into specializing as a destination for bird lovers. It's a very niche market, but it's a very lucrative market. And we also adventure-based. We have 4 national parks. We are developing the cultural heritage corridor. We have a couple of community-based tourism products. And of course, like we said earlier, we really pride ourselves, and we really put focus on our conservation. We usually like to say here in RDB that we will never compromise conservation. Sometimes we spend hours with our conservation team debating about a product, debating about a project, and it's a lot of conversation that happened. But we pride ourselves that every time we're going to do something, before we do something, we have to consult our conservation partners. So that's actually the glue, or rather the benchmark and the platform for our tourism. We also, if you could move to the next, Sami. I really like this map because it shows in a nutshell our key tourism product, and it also shows how you can actually discover the whole country in few hours, or in few weeks, either 1 week or a couple of days, more than a week, maybe around 10 days. And the reason why is because the country, one, I mentioned it earlier, we've invested in our infrastructure and our road connections. But the country is also small, which is a very, very good, it's a very good asset. So if you look at the Kigali, which is in the central of the map, it is the capital city, and you have a couple of activities there. We have, of course, the Genocide Memorial, which is one of our key highlights here in Kigali. We also offer Kigali city tours. You know, you have picnicking around the city. We have a couple of recreational parks. Of course, you know, fine dining at different restaurants. We have different restaurants from different culinary aspects. We have horse riding, zip line, family bonfires, which is mostly linked to picnicking, archery, and museums. So if you move from Kigali to in the eastern province, which is Akagero National Park, it's literally 2 hours drive. Very safe drive. You have camping, you have boat ride. Of course, you have the Big Five experience. You have community tourism, cycling. It's actually one of the key hubs for historical and cultural experiences, fishing, and paramotor. Moving from Kigali to Musanze, which is in the Vokes National Park, the home of our primates, especially the mountain gorillas. Again, 2 hours drive, but you can also take a helicopter, which is about 40 minutes. So you have the trek of the primates. You have cave tourism. You can hike a couple of eco parks and mountains. Canoeing. You also have romantic getaways, community tourism, cycling, and again, it's also one of the aspects of our historical and liberation tours. Then from Kigali to the west areas, which is the lake side. Again, very short drive, 3 hours. So, you know, beach tourism. You also have cycling, hiking, boat rides, kayaking, camping, really good coffee tours, which is actually one of my favorites. And of course, for the people who want to relax, you have the beach and then a couple of culinary experiences, which are also very interesting. And you also know that from the Volcanoes National Park to the Lake Kivu, it's only about 1 hour drive, which is very, very interesting as well. So if you move to the southern parts, from Kigali to the southern part, if you see on the map, you have Nyanza, Huye. That's actually the hub for cultural and historical tourism. You have the ethnographic museums there. You have a gallery in Nyanza, in Huye. So very interesting for a lot of wealth in our historical background and cultural backgrounds. And one of the furthest places actually in Rwanda is from Kigali to Nyungwe National Park. But it shouldn't be scary for you because there's also either helicopter services available or Rwanda that flies directly from Kigali to the Nyungwe side. It's about 30 minutes. Timothy, I'm sure you're going to maybe highlight that, but I think it's about 30 minutes flight from Kigali to Nyungwe side. So Nyungwe area, we have, of course, the famous Canopy Walk. You have beautiful hiking in the nature. We have waterfalls. We actually discovered one waterfall, new waterfall, very interesting. We have tea and honey experiences as a very good place for romantic getaways and of course the historical and cultural experiences. So I think this can give you an overview of what can be done in the country. And I can assure you that I personally did it actually. I took a trip for about 10 days and I covered the whole country. And it was one of the best experiences for me because I can talk about what I know, I can talk about what I've seen. It's a very good approach as well when you are packaging these experiences where you can package, instead of packaging for 2 days or 3 days, you can actually package a whole experience, and you get to experience the African wildlife, the African culture, the African food in just one country. So this is why I really love to showcase this map. So Sammy, if you could proceed to the next slide. Of course, when you talk about Kigali, I think I've already mentioned it, but maybe one of the things I can also highlight is that we are pushing for sports events, and we've also developed a cricket stadium, and we currently upgrading the Kigali Amahoro Stadium. And we've also have, back to the birding, we have a Lake Nyarutarama, which is a wealth of a lot of birds. And of course, you probably know about this. We've actually pushed for MICE, the MICE product, which is meeting, exhibition, and conventions. MICE, it's meeting, incentive, conferences, and exhibition, sorry. The next step could be, Sammy, if you could proceed to the next slide. Yes, I mentioned this. I mentioned the Genocide Memorial Museum. This is one of the key product that we showcase. It's very important that for our tourists, for everyone who visits the country, to understand where we came from. And a lot of people ask us, okay, you know, how did you get to where you got? You know, how can you explain, you know, what you went through and how you are where you are right now, based on maybe what Ambassador Hatayika talked about in terms of our rankings, whether it's in doing business, whether it's in tourism, whether it's in conservation. I think it goes back to the resilience of the Rwandan population. I think it's very important to understand that, and to understand that, you know, what we went through as a country, as a nation, can never happen everywhere in the world, but definitely cannot happen again in Rwanda. So once you get into this museum, you understand where we came from, you understand our resilience, and you understand our motivation for everything. The other interesting aspect is the development of different hospitality entities, especially international names like the Marriott, Serena, Radisson, etc. And this has really helped us develop the MICE industry. We also focus on small boutique hotels, which is a lot of which is a preference for tourists as a transit through Kigali. One of them is the Retreat, actually developed by local residents that moved into the country a couple of years ago, and that actually have developed this property. Moving to the national parks, I've also mentioned it. We have 4 national parks. One of them, of course, is the Akagero National Park, located 2 hours from Kigali. It is the home of the Big Five, and this Akagero National Park has a very interesting conservation story. You'd be interested to know, as of 2015, it was not a Big Five. We were missing lions and rhinos. But because of that conservation aspect, because of that vision for conservation, we reintroduced back-to-back lions and rhinos. This really helped in positioning Akagero National Park. We were able to, of course, to upgrade it to a Big Five national park. Another interesting aspect here is that the Akagero National Park is the most loved by our locals, and 51% of our visitors are actually local residents and Rwandans. The second national park, yes, I think I've mentioned this already. We also have properties, of course, on the Akagero National Park. One of them is the Akagera Game Lodge, which has been recently upgraded. We also have the Ruzizi Tented Lodge. We have Magashi Tented Camp, which is operated by Wilderness Safaris. And moving on to the Volcano National Park, which is our most visited volcano park, especially because of the mountain gorillas. You have the home of the famous mountain gorillas. It's about a 2.5 hours drive from Kigali. You have as well, for the adrenaline junkies, you have Karisimbi, Bisoke, which is one of the, Karisimbi is actually the Africa's 5th highest peak. I've not personally done it yet, but I hope to do it very soon. You have canoeing, hiking, and birding as well. And another very interesting attraction is the golden monkey trekking. And outside the park, the Volcanoes National Park, you have other products, including the Buhanga Eco Park. You also have the Danfossey Tom Trail that could also be visited. The other element that you need to understand about Volcanoes National Park, it is the hub of a couple of high-end, or rather ultra-luxury properties, including Bisati Lodge. I think a lot of people have seen this picture, and it's probably one of our favorite pictures here. So it's the Bisati Lodge, which was introduced recently in the country. We have the likes of One and Only, which I'm very, very happy to have our colleagues from our partners from One and Only present for more on this. You have the One and Only Gorilla Nest. It's one of the best properties I've actually been able to visit. You have Singita, Quicktonda Lodge, also very, very stunning property. You have as well Amakoro Songa Lodge, which is actually a property that have been developed by local residents. So very interesting that we also have our Rwandans that are into developing the tourism industry. Same for Bishop's House, and also a boutique hotel owned by a local residents. Virunga Lodge, the same thing. Someone who has actually built Virunga Lodge. It's probably the first lodge, one of the first lodge that we have in the Volcanoes National Park. The third national park is Nyungwe National Park. Now this one is my favorite. It's one of those places, it's magical. The rainforest is magical, the trek are magical. The Canopy Walk is, well,
thank you for the nice introduction.
Hello?
I can say, first let me start by saying on behalf of the Asian, we do have chickens in the background.
Someone is...
I apologize. That was Dr. Talib Rafai. I accidentally unmuted him. Please carry on. We'll give him a chance to speak once we're at the end of the presentation. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, great. So thank you. So I was saying that the national park Nyungwe is one of my favorite. Is the home of about 13 primate species, and we have orchid species, and about 150 of them. You have chimpanzee trekking, and as well as colobus monkey trekking. One of the best elements, of course, of the Nyungwe National Park is the Canopy Walk. For the adrenaline junkies, I will really dare you to do that. Just be sure that when you get in the middle, there's no returning back. I tried it. I tried to tell the guides, please take me back, but it was not possible. The only way out is through the Canopy Walk. So it's a very, very exciting product. In terms of accommodation, we have one hotel that has been developed by a local resident. It's called Top Hill View Hotel. Of course, you also have properties as One and Only that is also established there. One and Only Nyungwe House, also a stunning property. We also would like to highlight that we have a fourth national park recently established in the country. It's called Geshwatimokura National Park. It has not been visited yet, hasn't been started to be visited by visitors, by tourists. It's still under development. And honestly, we had planned to launch this national park this 2020, actually July 2020, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, in these times, we were halted by a lot of these unprecedented times and the virus. So it's located in the western province of Rwanda. Again, very short drive, about 2 hours drive from Kigali. It has the home for chimpanzees and golden monkeys and African blue monkeys. You have as well bird watching products, nature walks, and then of course you have community tree planting, which is a very interesting activity that we will be promoting. So I think in terms of our national parks, we only have these 4 national parks. If you can move to the next slide, Sammy. Thanks. Once you're done with the national parks, the hiking, the trekking, etc., we really love you to actually explore the Lake Kivu. So Lake Kivu touches 3 districts, and I think Ambassador will probably talk about it more. I know he's very passionate about this project, which is a project on the Kivu belt, which is developing the Lake Kivu, or rather the 5 districts along the Lake Kivu, into a stunning area. But it is ongoing. People visiting the Lake Kivu. So it is the beachside region of Rwanda. It's about 3 hours drive from Kigali. And then, like I said earlier, it's about 1 hour and 30 minutes drive from Volcanoes National Park. And we have a stunning agro-tourism over there around Rubavu area. And some of the activities include the hot springs, visiting hot springs, kayaking and mountain biking. And for the hikers, lovers, and cycling lovers, we have developed the Congo Nile Trail. So it's about 10 days for hiking, 5 days for cycling, and 3 days for 4x4 driving. In terms of properties, we have a lot of different properties along the Lake Kivu. One of them is the Common Lodge, again, developed by the local residents. I think it's been here for a couple of years. It is a stunning property, and you have a couple of activities, including jet skiing, kayaking along the one of the services that the property gives. Of course, we have the Lake Kivu Serena, which is one of our highlight properties in the Lake Kivu side. We have as well the Kivu Marina Bay Hotel, very recently developed. Actually has not even been launched yet, but it's operating now. Again, we were supposed to make a big launch around it, but we were not able to do so. But this is another additional property that was developed here in the country around the Kivu Lake. Another interesting aspect for Rwanda is the fact that we're promoting our culture and heritage corridor. We have a lot of product around it, but mainly it's in the southern province of the country, and King's Palace. It's one of our most favorite products. It just highlights the life of kings back in the history. You get to have an experience of how kings and royalty used to live back in the days. And then I could see on the picture, you see a picture of a cow. So cows really represent wealth and prosperity in our culture. And I'm not a specialist in cows. Maybe Ambassador can, if some people are interested in Ambassador Hategeka, can highlight even further on that. But cows represent a lot of good element in our culture, including wealth and prosperity. And it's showcased in the area in the southern province of the country. If you can move to the next slide, Sammy. As I said earlier, we also have the Ethnographic Museum, a very interesting museum. I think you spend about 1 hour and 30 minutes total in the museum, and usually it's on the way to Nyungwe, actually, which is a good stopover for tourists. We also have an art museum in the same area. And most of this, actually 99% of all these art are were actually produced and developed by Rwandans. Yes, I think I've already mentioned that. These are beautiful pictures of huts. And In terms of food, so again, a lot of people ask us, okay, do you have a particular food in Rwanda? You know, more or less, we've adopted food from all over the world, but particularly for Rwanda, there are few things that we can say that are really our own. Is our love for tea. I know tea is all over the world, but we really pride ourselves that we have one of the best teas in the world, as well as for coffee. Now, my favorite is the banana beer making. So it's a very interesting experience of how banana beer is made. And then you also, because of, remember when I said about cows and what it represents in our culture, we also have a fond love for milk. And recently, chili is something that we're also introducing, as well as in a production of chili and even exporting chili. Sami, if you can move to the next slide. Yes. In terms of events, like I said earlier, we have some homegrown events. Kwitizina, which is our biggest event in the country, and it's about it's a gorilla naming ceremony. We host about 50,000 local community and guests. We have as well the Kigali Up, Rwanda Film Festival, the Urumuntu Art Festival, and of course for the cyclist lovers is the Tour de Rwanda. Thank you so much. Sorry, the presentation is not going as fast as I was. Great. So thank you so much, Sami, for this, for helping with the presentation. But I'm very excited again to have presented this. And as you can see below, there is an email address that if there's any questions in terms of how to get to Rwanda, if there's any packages linking up with tour operators here in the country. So that is the email address that you can address all your questions. So thank you again for your time and listening to me. I know it was long, but I think that is why we're here. So thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ms. Belize, Chief Tourism Officer, apologies, for Rwanda Rwanda Development Board. Actually, I'm just going to make a little change to the program, if you don't mind, because we're very blessed to be to have a special guest to have joined the webinar. And so I'd like to introduce the Secretary General of the UNWTO, Dr. Talib Rifai, if you'd like to just say a few words. Oh.
Hi, Sami, I'm sorry to say that he literally just left and we lost the opportunity. And we were so honored to have him. He's written us a personal note, which we will share later. Thank you. Let's carry on as we did. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Rashid. That's a shame. We'll continue with the presentation. And then thank you so much, Ms. Belize, for an amazing presentation. I'm certainly excited about visiting Rwanda. And I think somebody who's now going to tell us a little bit more about the packages that are available in Rwanda and is the chairperson of the Rwanda Tours and Travel Association, Ms. Bonita Mutoni, and I will reshare the presentation.
Great, thank you, Sami. Brilliant. Belize has, gone into detail about all our national parks and what we do have to offer as a destination. With the Rwandan trade, what we do offer and what people do not know about the destination is we do sell it as a standalone destination. So most people actually believe that, they're coming to Rwanda just for gorilla trekking, but we have much more than just gorilla trekking. We have a lot more to offer. And I'll just go through a sample itinerary of what we do offer in the destination. So if you just go to the next slide, Sami. Okay, so we're going to talk about the we'll start with Kigali, which is your first stop when you do arrive. It's where Kigali International Airport is, and this is where your international flight would land. So you'd actually start in Kigali. Especially with COVID, you'd have to stay one night in a designated Kigali hotel. And we have a range of hotels. So from your mid-range all the way to sort of your luxury hotels, we do have those in Kigali. So arrival of your flight, you stay in Kigali. There are meet and greet services. So if you do have your high-end or your high net worth client, we can offer meet and greet services on arrival, and they'll be taken to the VIP lounge. With the trade, they would then transfer your client to the designated hotel. And then on day 2, I think Belize talked about it, the Genocide Memorial. So I think it's a good way to start your visit in Rwanda. It's just really to sort of get you to understand the history of the destination and really be in awe when you see how the destination has transformed, especially Kigali city. So we'll then proceed to Akagero National Park. As Belize was saying, and most people do not know, and I think I must highlight this on the conversation, is you can get the safari experience in Rwanda. So Akagero National Park is in the east, a 2.5-hour drive from Kigali. One of the things that we do talk about is you can chopper, depending on your clients and their budget, you could certainly do a helicopter scenic transfer to the park, which offers fantastic area views of the game while you're landing in the park. So on arrival in the park, you can then do an afternoon game drive, which you'll be able to see the Big Five. Then the next day you have a boat ride on Lake Ihima and another afternoon game drive. I'm sure you all know with safaris, it's not a one day. You do not see game, you know, on the very first day. So you kind of have to do your game drives and then be able to see the different game, which is quite exciting. We'll just go to the next slide, Sammy. So what you're going to do is then combine that safari experience, which you would have experienced in Rwanda, with your primate experience. So we're going to head up to Volcanoes National Park. As Belize highlighted, you do have your ultra luxury products like your one and only Gorilla's Nest, which is where I am. I'm very lucky to be here. And then you have your other properties like Singita and your Wilderness Safari Bisati property as well. At Volcanoes National Park, things that we do highlight apart from the primate trekking. So, and that's, you hear the message throughout this presentation. It's just, there's much more to offer than your primate trekking. So you'll certainly see that we're including a community tour. The community is, you know, an essential part of, you know, where we are today. We have your ex-poachers who are now actually taking care of the gorillas. So one thing that you will find is we are certainly giving back to the local community. So you can definitely take part in activities like your basket weaving, beekeeping, butter churning. So quite a few fun activities that sort of showcase Rwandan heritage as well. So at Volcanoes National Park, you'll be able to trek the mountain gorillas. And one thing that I must highlight is people assume that because I'm going to trek and hike, people think, do I have to be fit? So one of the things that we do in Rwanda is just really, it's a very personalized experience. If you do want to get a shorter trek, if you do want to get a mid-length trek, that can be organized at the park headquarters with us as well. So these are things that you can do. So if you're not very fit, it's your bucket list, you still want to do it, you can certainly do it in the destination. And then you also have your Golden Monkey Trek. So you want to sort of see all the primates in Volcanoes National Park, and then visit the Karisoki Research Center. So one of the things that we do, especially in properties like one and only Gorilla's Nest, we have, you know, our local partners like your gorilla doctors who are vets that take care of the gorillas, that come and do storytelling on the properties. You can visit the research center just to understand more. And this is really informative and educational activities that most of our guests can participate in, and especially for your younger guests as well. Just click to the next slide, Sammy. And then, of course, Belize highlighted also my favorite place, perhaps in Rwanda, is Nyungwe National Park. She talked about the properties that we have got there. So you have from your mid-range properties to your high-end, which is your one and only Nyungwe house. So at Nyungwe National Park, you're still doing the primate experience, but this is really more for the adventure seeker. So if you want to do your hikes and trails, she talked about the Canopy Walkway, we have the waterfall trail. You can certainly combine it with the colobus monkey trekking. And on some of the properties, you'll actually be able to see the primates on property, which is absolutely stunning. Birding, I'm not sure if that's an activity that you know, people from this market find interesting, but it's something that most of the international market find interesting. And just to highlight as well that most of the resorts also focus on wellness and relaxation. So you have a brand like One and Only that focuses on your spa experiences. If you want to completely unwind and relax, this is a perfect destination for you. We'll then go from Nyungwe National Park. So within these different national parks, you could certainly get a helicopter charter. So from one park to the other, the furthest charter would be 45 minutes. I always advise for your high-end clients to offer the helicopter charter because the views of, you know, the Rwandan topography, you're looking at, you know, the rainforest canopy when you're landing, you've got the Lake Kivu, which borders DRC and Rwanda, you've got the incredible volcanoes as well. So I would certainly encourage our guests to do a helicopter charter. If not, as Belize highlighted, we have great infrastructure, so you could certainly drive from one park to the other anyway. One thing that we will definitely encourage is tea and coffee, our biggest exports in Nyungwe National Park. You can take part in the tea ceremony. You can go out. So really immersing yourself in Rwandan culture. You can actually go out into a tea plantation and pick tea with the locals, which people absolutely enjoy. And then in Kigali, when you do return to Kigali, you can actually get a masterclass and you know, coffee tasting as well. So those are things that guests can certainly participate in. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the destination, and it's important to highlight that it is not a gorilla trekking destination. It is a 10-day, 9 nights destination minimum. And you could say there's a lot that we've got to offer. And of course, with the luxury resorts that we do have in the destination, for those people that kind of want to completely unwind and are into wellness, into sort of veganism, these are some of the things that the hotels are doing. So making sure that, you know, they're looking after you and making sure you're healthy. So these are the sort of things that we are doing in the destination. So focus on wellness, veganism, relaxation, adventure if you'd like to, trekking the primates. So quite a few activities that you can do within one destination. So I certainly encourage you to sell the destination as a standalone because we can offer, and we do offer, all of these incredible products. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bonita. I'm very pleased to know that you don't have to be super fit to do the trek. I might choose the easiest trek. Handing over now to Mr. Philippe Zuber, who's the CEO of Kerzner International, and of course with the amazing one and only Gorilla's Nest property that you can see in the background there. I'm sure he has plenty to tell us. Over to you, Mr. Philippe.
Thank you very much. Good morning all. Very pleased to be part of this panel, and thank you for your participations. I mean, I've been many times to the Rwanda, and just the presentations that Belize and Bonita have done have just reminded me so much fond memories. It's absolutely an amazing destination. Well, I just want to add on all of the very well described different opportunities that we can do in Rwanda is our GCC guests, which have been to the destination, have been totally amazed by the greeneries and the amount of trees, the flush of the nature. It's absolutely something which is outstanding. And this is something which they talking very, very highly over and above all of the experiences that they have, whatever it's with wildlife and so on. So I'm in charge of Kerzner International. You know, Kerzner as a group, we have multi-brands. Atlantis as a unique destination in Dubai and in China, but as well, one and only ultra luxury resort destination across the globe. And we have one unique resort in Australia, which is one and only Emirates Wolong Valley. And we have been so thrilled by the success of these resorts that we have decided to continue the growth and give to our guests and experiences to be immersed with wildlife and totally unique experiences. Then came this unique opportunity to have 2 lodges in Rwanda. We have one which we have opened in December 2018, is one and only Nyungwe house, which you just see pictures right now on the screen. We must say that this is absolutely an outstanding location, and you have absolutely unique opportunity to do all of the experiences which have been previously described. Over and above this, into that particular destination, we have unique culinary experiences and an amazing wellness approach, which is very, very, very unique. And then last year, we have opened one and only Gorilla Nest, where Bonita sits currently. This is really as well an ultra luxury destination resort, which is absolutely beautiful. And most of you might ask how Kirshner and one and only as an organization, we guarantee the safety for our guests. So first we have to recognize that being a global organization, Rwanda as a destination is really very advanced and in top class when it comes to the measures for safety measures. They have applied very strong protocol, which we apply across our portfolio, but what they do as well on arrival and supporting the guests to make sure that the destination is safe is quite remarkable. And like I say, we are doing and we're having operation in many, many of our countries across the globe. And we must say that gives a really, really strong confidence to travel to Rwanda and to the destination. Then over and above, as an organization, we have very strict protocols, which we have applied. We have applied that in each of our properties. And we have a mandatory training, which each of our colleagues, everyone in our organization has been going through. So that's giving as well an additional security to anyone which will be interacting with any of our colleagues across the globe, but specifically as well in Rwanda. The way that we operate, we are ultra luxury operator, and you must be aware that the standard in terms of hygiene is already on the top all across the globe. What we have over and above in those destinations is the space. The luxury of space that our both lodges are offering are just absolutely amazing. I mean, if you go to one and only Gorilla Nest, you have your private cabin, chalet, which is extremely oversized when it comes to a very generous space, but as well the access to the outside is really, really generous. And this is really a USP of one and only. It's giving this sense of privacy and the sense of unique services, which then you can enjoy all of the activities which is attached to. So our guests which are coming to the destination should really feel comfortable that they will be under the hands of trained colleagues and being with the highest safety protocol that they might experience. And the last point I just want to say is that before you book your trip to Rwanda and going to the one and only properties, is that what people remember whenever they go to a resort is, and what our guests are looking at as well, is just not to doing a simple trip, is to doing a life-changing approach destination. And this is where we're so good at. It is provided by the wildlife, it is provided by the destination, it is provided as well by the unique engagement that our colleagues are providing to our guests. We must say that the genuine approach of the services and the professionalism of our colleagues in Rwanda is second to none. And I just want to recognize that we're very, very proud of all of our colleagues which are working on the destination. They're doing an amazing services. And then when it comes to a community works, which our guests asking often how I can contribute and participate to the destinations, we are in partnership with many, many community works. We, as well as an organization, have worked with Helen DeGeneres, which she is creating a foundation just a few steps away from one and only Gorilla Nest. And through many, many initiatives, we are collaborating with her and all of the initiatives to make sure that there is a long-term conservation for gorilla and really make sure that the destination becomes sustainable over the years. So I will be happy to respond any question later, but I just want to say that out of these COVID-19 situations, we are very, very confident on the destination Rwanda, and we are absolutely blown away by the offering that we can give to our guests. And we know that our GCC audience would just simply love it because it's just amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zuber. Amazing presentation. The Gorilla's Nest, one and only Gorilla's Nest, looks like a spectacular property. So very much looking forward to visit there. But to get there, we have...
May I interrupt? It looks
Please,
like Dr. Talib Rafai is back. Would you like to give him a chance to speak? And
I think it would be good. I think, yes, if we can ask Dr. Rafai to say a few words. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Rafai. And once again, Dr. Talib Rafai.
Coastal area as well as...
Hello.
Dr. Rafai, we can't hear you clearly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you so much. It's lovely to be with you in Rwanda.
Sir, can we have your camera on, please?
Thank you. You know, Rwanda is a very special place for me. I attended 3-4 years ago the naming of the gorillas in the mountains, and it was a very unique experience. So I'm very happy to see that you are taking special interest in Rwanda. Rwanda is a country where leadership shows a real demonstration of political will. That's the only way that tourism can flourish. Tourism will never flourish if there's no political will to push it forward. And I'm very, very happy and proud to be with you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your attendance, Dr. Rafai, and it was great to hear from you. Thank you for your words. Now we actually need to get to Rwanda. So I'm going to once more share my screen and ask Timothy Njihia, Country Manager for Rwanda, to say a few words. Timothy?
Okay, thank you, Sami, for the opportunity. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Sami mentioned, my name is Timothy Njihia. I am the country manager for Rwanda here in the UAE. And I would like to say that I also represent a number of in the GCC countries. So it's very good for us to be doing this morning. I do represent Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, and also Pakistan. And I'm happy that the members of those countries are here in the panel, so we're well represented. Without much further ado, I would like to continue with my presentation. Now,
what about Jordan?
I believe I would say it a lot, but I think I need to start. Okay, just go back a bit, just because I need to just emphasize that the future of air travel would be defined by the trust we build today. And I believe this is what we are doing, very important post-pandemic. We're trying to build trust. We are trying to show everybody that it is safe to travel. So we can go to the next slide. Now, about Rwanda, I'll just talk a bit about ourselves. From our hub at Kigali International Airport, we are reputed for excellent on-time performance, customer service, and safety. We've got one of the youngest fleet on the African continent, up to 12 aircraft, including 2 wide-body aircrafts. As an IATA member, we've been certified and recertified by the bodies that I've mentioned, the IOSA, ISAGO, and EASA, and that's a lot to do with safety, which is what we're discussing. We've talked about safety about the country. So this is safety for the airline. We've been certified and recertified. We fly up to 28 destinations across East, West Africa, and South Africa, as well as Middle East, Europe, and Asia. Not all of them are currently open at the moment, but as we go along, I think we will show you which ones are open or not. We resumed passenger flight services on the 1st of August, as has been said, and we started with Dubai. Our current operation is three times a week. And I put there the flight number, I put there the days that we operate from Kigali into Dubai and from Dubai back to Kigali. One of the things I'd like to mention is that there's very good connectivity, you know, from the GCC countries into Dubai, onwards to Kigali and back, because that's also very important for us as a whole GCC to understand this. You can actually, and we have a lot of tie-ups with the GCC countries to enable you to sell a package from, let's say, Muscat, Dubai, Kigali, have a holiday, and back again to fly and connect back to whatever country. The frequencies, initially we would do 7 times a week, but we're doing this 3 times a week, of course, because of what has happened. We started and we're still trying to look and see, do we have, you know, enough loads, the borders open. So as borders continue to, you know, reopen, then we'll be able to increase frequencies. And I've attached, it's okay, I've attached a website there that you can be able to go in and see the status of each country, which country is open, which country is closed, requirements for you to travel to those countries or for you to fly from those countries into Kigali and onward. Then I'll go straight into why we're here today. We talk about safety. What has Rwanda done in terms of safety? Your safety is a priority, and we're talking about whether this is on the ground or on air. And for that, we developed what we call a 5-step guide on what to expect on Kigali International Airport, and of course on board our flights. That 5 safety guide goes with, you know, before you fly, what do you need to do? You need to check in 4 hours before. What do you need to do? Arrival at the airport, inside the terminal, on board our aircraft, and on arrival. I would like Sami to play a short video that basically is a passenger confidence video that shows you.
Rwandair has always worked to ensure you feel safe on the ground and in the air. As we resume our passenger services, we have reinforced health and safety measures at Kigali International Airport and on board Rwandair flights to minimize the risk of COVID-19 infection and comply with all regulatory instructions.
What up?
Sorry, the video isn't visible to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I can't see it.
Sorry, one moment, let me stop sharing and try again.
Yeah. Because that video, that video shows everything that we have done in terms of safety protocols. So step by step. Okay, fine.
Rwandair.
Okay, I don't know.
Apologies, Timothy. It doesn't appear that the video is working. So if we can just move along, then we can share the video with the participants after the presentation, if that's okay.
I don't know. Okay. Well, the video was about to show you all the steps that we have mentioned there, and I think it'd be good even if it's maybe after we'll try and see what has happened to that. Maybe we'll have a session after for it to play, because it does demonstrate everything that we've done in terms of passenger confidence, in terms of making the passengers feel safe, you know, while on board the aircraft. So I think that's what I was going to say. And of course, the other things Bonita and Belize had spoken about them in terms of what you need to do with the destination. Go to the next slide then. How can you, you know, book on Rwandair? You can go online. We can be able to book a flight from, you know, Dubai to Kigali, Kigali to Dubai, if you're planning to travel to Kigali. Your travel agent, online travel agents, meta search engines, our sales offices within our networks. Here in Dubai, we are based in Bar Dubai. in Kigali. Again, you can book from there. You can also book from our GSA agents, from our agents in the countries that I've mentioned. Our mobile app, you can download Rwanda mobile app on the, either you're on Android or on Apple. I've shown how you can download that. And of course, you can also do this through our Dream Miles program, where you can redeem in terms of your points to book. So I think that's the end of my presentation. I'd have really wanted that video to play because.
Thank you, Timothy. So what I will do, I will work on this video now, but in the meantime, thank you very much.
Timothy, I've shared you can share your screen as well. Everyone has the capability to share. So if you want to, you can try it.
Okay, so I think for now, so that we don't get stuck in technology, we could perhaps move on to Mr. Mohammed Al-Rais, and then I'll put the video on in a moment. Thank you. Mr. Mohammed Al-Rais obviously is actually Deputy Managing Director of Al-Rais Travel and has visited Rwanda. So thank you very much for giving us your time, Mr. Mohammed, and we look forward to hearing about your experiences in Rwanda.
Thank you, Sami. Thank you for getting me as a speaker today. It's always my pleasure to be part of Rwanda, as I has been part of Rwanda since many years by representing their airline, the GSA here, and then by visiting Rwanda. See, since the tourism board and the people, my colleague has spoken a lot about the destination and what you can do, I'll not repeat what they have said, what the beautiful things that they have said, but I'll speak about something more maybe about the country itself, about the people itself, themselves, about things which you cannot find in maybe in another country. First, I was very shocked and surprised that this is really one of the cleanest countries in the world, not in Africa. I have been to more than 100 countries, and I can say this is one of the most cleanest, if it was not the cleanest, in the world. It is very safe place. Even when you walk AM, PM, walking distance for 3-4 kilo away of the hotel, you cannot feel you are a stranger. You cannot feel that nobody look at you. So the safety is very important aspect, especially when you are coming from the GCC. A lot of people are wearing like hijab, shela, whatever there. So these things, they have to be very comfortable about. So people there, very welcoming, very charming. You don't feel that you are at any tourist destination. I'll talk more about personal experience. I've gone beyond all these. I've been to the gorilla trekking, the volcano, the Akagera, I have done all of these as a tourist, but I have done something beyond. With the help of the RDB, I also participated in the Amaganda. This is, I'm pronouncing it right, Amaganda, the Amaganda Day in Rwanda, which is the last every Saturday of the month, where everybody of the population goes out and do a community service. On my last visit on August, I have done this experience for a full day, working with the Rwandan, doing these roads, doing these schools, doing these experience. You really wouldn't find it anywhere else, and it's open for everyone. It's not like you have to be registered or you have to be something. So this is one of the most beautiful experience I have done, because it was like more of a casual thing. It's not more like more of a, you know, an organization, what you have to register and to do. So this was a really amazing experience. Other than this, I managed to play football in Rwanda. Next to the Sheikh Zayed Mosque, in Rwanda, there is a football field. I visited the mosque. Then I have seen them playing football, and I was wearing sporty shoes. So I said to the guy, "Can I go?" He said, "You ask them." I don't know. I asked the coach there. He said, "Yeah, please, welcome." So I played around 25 minutes, and this was a really amazing experience, unplanned, just going, talking to the people. They would welcome you, they will let you in. So Rwanda is much more than sightseeing or greenery or attraction or gorilla as they, yes, these are very beautiful, very important thing, but my experience is only is always about security and safety and how comfortable you can be. And I don't exaggerate when I say it's one of the most comfortable countries I have been to, as I have been 4 times, sometime for business, let's say 2 times for business and 2 times for leisure. And I'm willing to go for the 5th and the 6th time. Although I'm not a person who repeats visiting countries, you know. I always like to change, to see new places here and there. But still, some places I did not visit in Rwanda, which I am, inshallah, planning whenever I have the chance to go back to Rwanda. And on the other hand, also, I know we are talking more about tourism and about everything, but I have to mention how easy business to do there and how comfortable when we did since I did 2 delegations there, I brought two groups there. This was really very helpful, very an easy process, not complicated, which also, you know, that tourism is also comes under business tourism or conference tourism. So I didn't see anyone mentioning this here, but I think with the capacity you have, like Marriott, Rendison, Blue, and the infrastructure you have, you are very capable of the business tourism plus the leisure tourism. So Rwanda is much more than a place to visit and to enjoy. It's a place to really feel comfortable to, really to revisit again. It's home away from. I prefer it other than many other destinations, which I repeat to say that I have visited more than 100 countries at this moment. And really, Rwanda is one of the countries that I have been repeated, and I will go again, inshallah, soon again. So basically, I didn't want to go into detail about the game chain or the gorilla tracking because it has been repeated. So I have done all these activities and willing to do them again. And in fact, one of my plans last year to come with my kids alone. My 2 boys to do the adventure things which you have in Rwanda. I wanted some space with my sons only, not even with the wife, not even with anyone, only with my sons. As I wanted to take them to like more of an activity, and so Rwanda was my choice. But unfortunately, things what happened, it's delayed the plan. I can say it's delayed the plan. So basically, Sami or the team, this is. I don't know if this was enough, since I did not really want to repeat what my other colleagues said about these luxury hotels, about the attraction which you have, which is really very amazing. They have seen presentation and videos. So I came from different angle. Is this the safety and the comfortable of the place and the amazing food? And short distance, it's only 4 to 5 hours away from Dubai, no visa required. So why not Rwanda?
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed. And that was absolutely perfect because you explained to us how it feels to be in Rwanda. And obviously, you know, we travel for feelings and for emotion, and that was absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for your time. Handing over now to a lady some of you will know, Ms. Haya Yasmin. Haya recently did a poll on her own Instagram and to find out what was her favorite country in the world, and Rwanda came out as #1. So Haya, why don't you tell us a little bit about why Rwanda is your favorite country in the world?
Hello, it's very wonderful hearing everyone today. Thank you for having me, first of all. For those of you who don't know, I work for NBC and I produce and present a travel show. So my full-time job is usually traveling the world up until Corona hit us all. But it's been nice to reflect and go back on all the trips. But yes, usually my least favorite question is, where is your favorite country in the world? Because every place I've been to has its own magic or experiences, but Rwanda won me over, and it's definitely, there's no hesitation when I'm asked where's your favorite place, and it's Rwanda. Many of you mentioned the different things, so I will probably maybe go into why and tell you a bit of my story and my experience in Rwanda. First of all, it didn't only meet my expectations, it exceeded my expectations as a traveler and as a person who supports sustainable travel. Like it was mentioned by His Excellency, how as soon as we arrived in the airport, the ban of plastic bags, which I was very excited as I traveled with a full crew, and I warned them before we got there, there's no plastic. They're like, oh, but we're buying from the duty free, where do we put our stuff? I'm like, just carry them or put them in your backpacks. And sure enough, as soon as we arrived, they took all their plastic bags. So I was like, you see, I told you. So it was very, you know, the consciousness and awareness, and the ban of single-use plastic, as well as the protection to wildlife, the women empowerment, the presence of big presence of women in the Parliament of Rwanda, the business-owned women business owners in Rwanda, because we started our journey in Kigali. So I think it was really important to start in Kigali. And as Belize and Bonita mentioned, we started with the Genocide Memorial Museum. And I think that set the tone for us, because it was one of the most inspiring and emotional experiences, because it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, it really shows you how resilient the people of Rwanda are, coming from a place of conflict and living under occupation most of my life, to see that these people were able within 25 years to recover from such a tragedy was beyond mind-blowing to me. I just kept, and from there on, every day we go about and see the people and meet the people and deal with the people. It was just so inspiring, and it was a lesson, and I feel like it should be an example to many countries today of how to move on, recover, and rebuild, and have that hope. Everyone I met was very full of hope and wanting to build for a better future. First day was in Kigali. We visited some coffee shops, did a lot of did some shopping with all the artisans, and then the second day we went off to the gorilla trekking, which was a once in a lifetime experience. I feel like I was like, after finishing the whole experience and filming it and doing the whole thing, I got in the car and we're driving down, and I was still stunned. I would just start laughing out of nowhere. Like, did I just see these animals? Was I really this close? It's a beautiful experience, but as you also mentioned, it's not only what Rwanda has to offer, but it's something that is a must when you visit Rwanda. I'm excited to go back and stay at the Gorilla Nest, the one and only, their new hotel, hopefully soon, because after we finished there, we went to Nyungwe with one and only. Our episode was filmed at the one and only, it was in collaboration with the tourism board and the one and only hotels. That's another piece of art, just walking in and driving in. Also to talk about the greenery, which was shocking to many of our viewers and followers. They're like, are you sure? Are you sure you're in Africa? And this is a misconception that I dislike, like when people talk about Africa as if it's one country, but at the same time, it's an important part for us to bring to people and show them that, yes, it's one of the most lush places I've been. Nyungwe forest was beautiful. We did chimpanzee trekking, and our timing was a bit off. We were supposed to wake up by 4 a.m., be there by 5 a.m., something like that, and we were 1 hour late, which eventually meant that the chimpanzees have moved, and our 2 to 3 hour trekking experience ended up being about 8 hours. We ended up going all the way down to the end of the forest, and I was still pushing. I need to see them. I can't go all the way down. We still didn't see them. We went all the way down, and then we started going all the way up. And we cried, we fell, we almost gave up. I asked if there's a chopper that can pick us up, because we were done. I'm with like 4 other men that barely trek. But I think that experience was a life-changing experience. It pushed me, It pushed me beyond my limits mentally and physically. And when we saw the chimpanzees, it was revolutionary. It's like, oh my gosh, there they are. After we saw them after 6 hours, and then when we still had 2 more hours to trek up. And yeah, that's an experience I speak about always. And of course, going back to the one and only, after 8 hours of trekking, we were welcomed with a beautiful massage in that beautiful luxury hotel. So you have your, you can go hike and sweat it out and get really exhausted, but then you go back to a beautiful hotel. It's on a tea plantation. So you walk in and it's just greenery everywhere. The food is mostly made from the chef there, cooks from the garden. He has his own garden. He picks whatever's in season is cooked for you. So I think, yeah, it met many aspects of luxury, adventure, and as Belize mentioned, if you like the adrenaline rush, the Canopy Walk as well in Nyungwe Forest, I actually had to do it about 8 times back and forth because we had to film it, and there was a drone on top and I had to walk it, and towards the end I literally screamed at the top of my lungs in the middle of the forest. I'm like, stop, done, cut, I can't do it anymore. So definitely an adrenaline rush, but I don't advise doing it more than 3 times back and forth. What else did I want to mention before I wrap up? I know we're short on time. You can watch my 3 segments. We produced 3 segments from Rwanda. You can go on my profile. I'll share in the next, there's one on my Instagram, IGTV, but I'll post the other 2 soon. And one last thing, I think what Rwanda is doing is inspiring and revolutionary in the world of tourism. And I think it should be set as an example moving forward. And hopefully after recovering from Corona, it should be one of your top destinations to go and visit. If you have any questions, I'm always here to answer. And I can't wait to return hopefully soon and have another experience from the country. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining, Haya. And actually, that was going to be my question about the Canopy Walk, because I know you and heights. I wasn't sure if you were braved it, or thank you for sharing your experience. I'd like to hand over now to Mr. Nasser Khan, CEO of Al-Nabuda Travels. Mr. Nasser, if you'd just like to talk to us a little bit about what you feel the potential for Rwanda is from the UAE market. Sorry, Mr. Nasser, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Good afternoon once again, everyone. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak through this panel. We've heard a lot. My colleagues have covered almost everything about the destination. I would like to speak a little bit about how can we divert the traffic, how can we attract the traffic, and what our clients would be looking for a new destination. So for a passenger, for a tourist, they're looking for, the top priority for them is the confidence to go to a destination. And especially nowadays, the healthcare, safety, and security. The other thing that is very common nowadays is a change. We do have very traditional destinations, very common destinations, very famous destinations people have been flying to. But now it's a time, once again, people will be looking for a change as well. People will look for places which are less congested, places which are open, places which are fresh and full of nature, places which can provide best of the relaxation. Short haul flights, not flights, people don't prefer flights nowadays, even when they're planning future trips, they're not looking for flights with 8 hours, 10 hours and more. They're looking for short haul flights, a good airline, awareness, economical packages, hassle-free visa, investment opportunities, halal food, especially talking about the GCC destinations. So what we have covered so far, what we have been hearing from all the panelists is excellent. Looking at the healthcare, Rwanda operates a universal healthcare system, and it's considered to have the highest quality health system in Africa. So that's a confidence level for a customer, for a passenger to fly to this destination, because we are all very sensitive towards the health and safety and security. The ambassador just mentioned a while ago the excellent safety and security record of the country. So that will be a selling point. That's a confidence level. Looking at the halal food, which is a common requirement from GCC for the passengers, for the Muslim passengers. So we know that all international cuisines are available with the local delicacies in Rwanda. Muslims could be confident that the meat and the products they consume is genuinely halal. So that's a very big plus point as well. In our culture here, we receive last minute bookings as well. It's a common thing in this part of the world. So hassle-free visa upon arrival is a very important point here, because people, when they are planning last minute, they don't have to worry about applying for visas weeks in advance, if not months. So we can make a last minute plan. This is a very good selling point as well. So you need to plan to go to a trip or for a vacation to Rwanda. As long as we have the ready-made packages or packages bookable, you don't have to worry about the visa. That's a very, very big point to sell this destination. Looking at an airline, look at the Rwanda Air. They have created a very good name in this market. Timothy and team, they are doing a wonderful job. They have a great GSA, which is Al Race Travel. They are all doing very well. They have created a good name in the market. People have confidence. I hope that very soon they will go back to A330s. At the moment, they are operating smaller aircrafts, which is very much understandable. Look at the confidence level again. Forbes has included Rwanda in the best places to visit in 2020. So I believe all what we hear and all what I hear as a travel agent and as a traveler, being in the industry, travel industry, we get the opportunity to travel around the world. So I have already been convinced, and I'm very confident that this is a future top destination in the near future for the people from at least talking about GCC, if not the Middle East. What we need to do here, what we need as travel agents, tour operators, and the end users here. The travel agents play a vital role to promote any destinations, but travel agents alone cannot promote any destination. So the tourism board, the travel and tourism agencies here, and the tour operators, inbound tour operators, and the hoteliers, and the service providers in Rwanda, they have to be continuously in touch with this market. We have seen in the past many countries, many destinations, many people come around, they come in once, they come during the ATM, and then you don't see them. So this is not going to help. So what helps is, I'm very glad to see Rwanda Air is very active. The ambassador himself is involved. This is a confidence level for all of us. So I believe this should continue. There shouldn't be any big gaps. Let's stay in contact with the trade, travel trade, with the end users as well. I believe in roadshows, that will help a lot. I believe the airline should provide the IT fares for the travel agents to create packages from here. I would highly recommend that the tour operators, inbound tour operators in Rwanda should provide very, very attractive packages, especially after the COVID. People are very conscious about the spending. We do know that we have high-end passengers and other passengers, yet we should be economical. So I believe initially to attract more and more passengers, we should have attractive pricings, IT fares, to create very good packages, tailor-made packages, and push the market from here. Of course, the social media plays a major role here. And besides all that, I would recommend fam trips for the travel agencies. These are your supporters in the market, so they should have a first-hand experience. Besides that, I also would recommend that the tourism board, together with Rwanda Air, should come up with the special or discounted rates for the travel agents and their families. Let them travel by themselves if you are not creating or doing a fam trip for them. I strongly believe, after hearing from all of you, that this is a great destination, safe destination, clean, fresh destination, and that's what we need to convey to ourselves and our clients in the market. I, as a travel agent, Al-Namuda Travel is one of the prominent, trustworthy, one of the largest travel companies here. I, as a travel agent, am convinced, I'm committed, and we are definitely going to promote this destination. I hear Haya, I hear Hamad Al-Rais, I hear the rest of the guys. I believe these are wonderful experiences, and I'm very, very sure, and I would like to convey these messages to our listeners, to our attendees, that this is a great destination. Let's sell it, and let's introduce something new to our clients. So I would end my opinion by saying this, that thank you once again for listening to me, and I'm very glad to listen and to hear, listen to all of you. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nasser. It's great to hear from you. It's great to hear your ideas as well. Thank you so much. Our final speaker today, Mr. Facundo Rua, Managing Director of Fursan Travel in Saudi Arabia, our only speaker from Saudi Arabia. So, you know, the whole country rests on your shoulders, Mr. Facundo, to give us an idea of the potential of Rwanda from the Saudi Arabian market. Thank you.
Thank you, Sami, and thank you, everyone. It's great to see such wonderful minds coming all together. Two thoughts on this. I am so happy to serve. I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again publicly. It's so nice to see women in charge of different great roles and seeing the country moving ahead on that. I spoke yesterday to a friend of mine, actually, who has another friend who's living in Rwanda. And it's very impressive what the country is doing. It's not my words, it's their own words. They both from South Africa and other places in Africa, and they moved to support Rwanda's growth. Now, from a Saudi perspective, you know, Saudi Arabia has 27, 28 million people, out of which 23 million are Saudis, and the rest we are expats that we're trying to support the Vision 2030 that the country has. But most importantly, they're young people. If we all look at the population and the average age of Saudi Arabia, we're talking about 29.9 years old as average. And if you talk about Riyadh, which is the capital, you're talking about 23 years old. So it's very young. And with that in mind, one of the things that we as a travel agency in Saudi Arabia looking for is to ensure that we have the right product for the new travelers. And I think here there's a massive opportunity for Rwanda to maybe improve what South Africa did in regards to honeymooners. I mentioned it the other day when we were talking, and I think having packages for honeymooners, it's gonna be a fantastic opportunity to target that segment. We all know that Saudis get married usually very young in age as well. As for Sun, you know, I already contacted the Ambassador Manuel and Bonita to start discussing how can we, on the new OTA, an online travel agency that we're going to launch, how can we support Rwanda? Because it's part on our goal to be a sustainable driven company that provides back to countries and communities. So if we can help in any shape or form to improve the 14.3% of GDP of Rwanda in terms of incoming tourism, we will. That's our commitment with the country and with the people that are trying to progress there. Now, again, I think it's very important, and I will comment in a series. I would just use some of the words that Nasiri mentioned today. It's quite amazing to see, you know, that even though Rwanda has done so much, it still is not coming the right message all across to the right people. And I think we have a responsibility here. I think we have to take that responsibility for Rwanda in this case, but also for other countries, to ensure that the right message and the right offering comes to the clients. All in all, and I'm just going to summarize it because I know we don't have a lot of time, Sami, so I'm going to be time conscious for that. I think there's 5 takeaways that I would like to take for everyone. One is, you know, content will be crucial. So having the right content in the right language, in the right tone will be crucial. But here is where we need to work together with the tourism board and with, you know, the DMCs, the destination management companies in the country, to ensure that the offering goes rightly to the right customer segments, not to anyone, to the right customer segments. Number 2, we have to have the right balance offering when it comes to prices, because, you know, we can have the VIP, we can have the luxury style, but also we need to find segments of budget, which I saw a couple of questions saying, you know, is there a budget way of visiting Rwanda? And I think that will be interesting, especially for the youngsters that are more adventurous and would like to go to the country and do some trekking and get out of the 50 or 49 degrees heat that we have here from time to time. And number 3, we need to ensure that how can we give back to the communities in Rwanda, not just by sending travelers, but what are the things that our travelers can do? Number 4, how can we support Rwanda as such to provide an ecosystem where they're heard in the country? Just to give you a quick glimpse of what we're doing next year, we're planning to create, we don't want to call it an academy, but we would like to give back to the community training on different languages, free of charge for those that have purchased with us as a giving back to the community. But also we would like to host people that would like to speak about countries and share ideas about the countries, right? Saudi Arabia is eager to get culture in the country, so that's what we are planning to do. And the 5th and last is all about, you know, being a little bit, and I'm going to use the right word of greediness, right? It's a little bit greedy in terms of having this ambition to get the country be seen by the different population. Now, we have to culturalize the people. I have to be honest. That doesn't mean they're not culture. We have to show them that the country is there, what they have to offer. And I think this is a great kicking off of this opportunity for Rwanda to be able to be shown as a country, to be shown what the product and what they have to offer. I can't wait to ride my bicycle in Rwanda and do the tour, which I already sent to a friend of mine, and also go to Rwanda and visit it. I might change my travel plans and be the next destination. Thank you for the opportunity of being here. Let's keep going, and you know, I am looking forward to hearing from Bonita and Emmanuel, the ambassador, to ensure that we can move these further and support the country.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time today, Facundo, and it's great to hear from you. I think just before we go to questions and answers, I hope to have been able to resolve the video issue that we had earlier. So please bear with me, and we'll try to run the Rwanda Air video.
Rwandair has always worked to ensure you feel safe on the ground and in the air. As we resume our passenger services, we have reinforced health and safety measures at Kigali International Airport and on board Rwandair flights to minimize the risk of COVID-19 infection and comply with all regulatory instructions. We recommend that you check in online in order to avoid queues at the airport. All passengers and staff will be required to wear face masks at all times inside the airport premises and on board the aircraft. A thermal camera will check your temperature as you enter the terminal building. Customer handling desks are fitted with glass screens and hand sanitizers. You can use our handy self-check-in kiosks to help reduce contact. We have placed social distancing signs throughout the terminal to help you maintain physical distance. At the check-in counters, our staff will be wearing face masks and gloves. All surfaces, including check-in counters and self-check-in kiosks, are disinfected regularly. Robots will remind passengers and staff to comply with health and safety measures. At the security checks, screening bins are disinfected continuously to ensure your safety. Our barcode readers will help speed up boarding and minimize contact. We have been working hard to prepare our aircraft and our crew for your return. Aircraft are regularly deep cleaned and disinfected. All our aircraft are fitted with high-efficiency particulate-absorbing HEPA filters that remove over 99% of germs. All our cabin crew will be wearing personal protective equipment on board our flight and are very ready to welcome and serve you. You will notice some changes to our onboard service. For added safety, we have removed our in-flight magazines and other reading materials from the seat pockets. We look forward to welcoming you on board Rwandair. Stay safe.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
Thank you, Sami.
Thank you all very much. That brings to a conclusion the presentations and the discussions. I'm going to hand over now to editor of Travel and Tourism News Middle East, Rashi Sen, I've seen a lot of questions come through. So if we don't manage to get through all of the questions, we will make sure to reach out to you all with the answers as well. So Rashi, over to you.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. So my first question is, how family friendly is Rwanda as a destination? There is a minimum age for kids to attend, for people to attend the gorilla safari. So can you tell us a bit more about that? If you happen to be under that age, what are the kids going to do at that point? That would be a good question for the GCC market because it's very family oriented. Thank you very much.
I think that would be great for Ms. Belize to answer.
Yes,
yes,
please.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, indeed. I think for mountain gorillas, there is a limit for 15 years in terms of kids. And what they can do more is you have a couple of things. You could visit the caves, the Musanze town is a wealth of there's a lot of coffee shops, there are a lot of places to visit, the markets. Sort of a cultural immersion for the younger crowd. We have a couple of community culture villages that are kid friendly. I think all of our properties actually do have are really kids friendly as well. So kids can stay in the property while the parents visit the national parks. So maybe if my colleague Linda has additional input on that, she can also jump in. But particularly for the Vokalas National Park, that's why we have that limit of 15 years old.
Right.
But one of our kid-friendly national park is Akagero National Park. It actually has no age limits. I think even a baby can actually visit. So Akagero National Park, which is the Big Five game drive park, is kid friendly. All ages is welcome. I think that's maybe what I can say in terms of the family friendly products. Thank you.
Sorry, thanks. So the next question is, and it's one of the visitors to Rwanda. So any of our people who have visited Rwanda, what has been their favorite food? What's been a good quiz, something that they really like to eat in Rwanda? So this question is being asked by a gentleman called Ahmad El Shanavi. Yes, sorry.
So I think from what I've heard so far is the sambaza. So sambaza are like little fish. They're really, really tiny fishes that you fry. I think that's probably one of the biggest interesting food that that we have here in Rwanda, and you usually find it along the Lake Kivu. So that's one of the delicacies that we have. And then a couple of people do love our brochettes. So brochettes is more of like the equivalent of kebab, which they really love. So it usually comes with fries or potatoes. So I think top of mind, those are the two things that we have a lot of visitors that they find very unique and very authentic to Rwanda.
Great. Can I address a question to Mr. Rua for the Saudi Arabian market? Do you see MICE travelers coming to Rwanda for meetings and incentives? Do you see this happening?
I think it's an opportunity. I'm always positive in that. Usually they try to move around, GCC area because of the distance of traveling, to be fairly honest with you. If we put the right package, and we do have MICE in our business as well, but if we put the right package in place that is attractive and it's also driven by something that the company can do, I don't see why it could be a problem.
Because it would be a unique product, wouldn't it, to include wildlife within the...
Absolutely. I think, we don't have that. I mean, we have some beauty around GCC, but definitely, we don't have gorillas. At least in the wild. So in all essence of the word, I think it's quite important that, as I said before, it's all about how we really pitch and understand our customers, and I think that's going to be the crucial. In 2020, definitely, I don't think much is going to happen, to be fairly honest with everyone. But in 2021, I am against the predictions. I think 2021 will be a great year.
Great. May I request back to Ms. Belize, please? The question is, they're about numbers from Rwanda. So in 2019, what was the tourism revenue and how many people visited and how many were there from the GCC? Would you have these numbers? Because several of our attendees want to know these statistics.
Just, sorry, I just would like to apologize because I have another appointment. So I just want to say that it was really nice to be part of this panel. Thank you very, very much. And Bonita, which stay on the line, she will respond to any questions that you might have for one and only Okosner. But thank you very, very much. And I wish you a great day.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your excellent contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So maybe I could take on the question. So in 2019, we received about 1.7 million visitors, and our revenues are estimated to be more than 490 million US dollars in 2019. And in terms of the GCC market, it's really, really low compared to the overall visitors number. I think we received about probably less than 500 from the GCC market. So I see that as a very interesting challenge to grow the market, which is why this engagement today is very timely. So I hope I've answered the question as well on that.
Yes, great, thank you. So I would like to address Mr. Nasir Khan or Ms. Haya Yasmin or both to answer this question. Why East Africa? And if East Africa, why Rwanda? Would Ms. Haya go first, please?
Sure. Why Rwanda? I think I mentioned many of the things of my experiences. Also the people make a difference for me and how you feel in a place. Also the safety. That's a number one thing. The safest and cleanest, how clean it is, how safe it is. As a woman who I was traveling, I was with a crew, but at times, at night or any other time, I felt safe as a woman traveling there. Also, I would say it's a different world. It's a different experience. It's not the usual that you would get anywhere else where you travel, and I wanted to also jump in about the GCC. So our show, it's Sabah Al Khair Ya Arab on NBC One. Our main, we get about 40 million viewers daily, but our main viewers are GCC. And I can tell you that I think what's very important is educating the viewers first about this place. And I feel like, yes, it might take some time to get that number higher than 500, but it's getting there, because since I've traveled, I've seen people that I personally know that have also traveled, and I've also seen people through social media, through the media that have traveled. And also, we were one of the first, if we are, I believe we are the first TV channel to cover the gorillas and that experience. So I think if that is done more and more awareness is created around Rwanda, it will be, that number will definitely rise.
Mr. Khan, could I ask you to, thank you, Ms. Haya. Mr. Khan, could you answer this question, as you've obviously you've had a good experience of East Africa in detail. Why would you choose Rwanda over other East African countries? And don't beat me up for asking this question. It is a valid question. Is he there? Mr. Khan, you're mute.
Unmute myself. All right. Yes. There are various reasons why Rwanda at the moment. Talking about Africa, for example, I have been to almost a lot of African countries. I have missed Rwanda so far. But what I have learned so far about Rwanda, and I compare it with the other countries, I would personally be attracted to visit Rwanda, whether I go officially or as I go for a tourist, as a holiday. So both ways, I see the attractions are there. Then again, nobody has been given the health certification, which Rwanda has received as one of the first countries. So it gives me a confidence level. Talking about mice, for example, people have done different experiments, different experiences. A mice conference on the cruise, conference in the mountains, conference in different countries. But as you just recently mentioned, the experience for mice people together with the wildlife, which they have never seen anywhere, I don't think anywhere else can give them this experience. Besides that, change, as I mentioned earlier, people like change. Now it's a time for change. And I believe it's a beautiful change, if I may say. Besides that, UAE is a country which has an amazing potential to generate business for any country. We just need to drive it in the right direction. So I believe they have the right product. Rwanda has the right product. Rwanda has a very friendly atmosphere. We all spoke about safety and security. We all spoke about, and I'm sure I haven't seen the pricing yet, but it's my expectation it's very economical as well. And I believe in the near future, during COVID, post-COVID, people will be very conscious about their budgets. So Rwanda is here to offer all what it needs, whether it's family planning, family tourism, individual tourism. We can attract millennials here, and they will be attracted towards this. Or a business travel. In terms of investment, there are a lot of opportunities in terms of agriculture, tourism, technology. I just understand that Volkswagen has just opened their plant over there. So I believe this has a great platform. So definitely it's a positive thinking to say that Rwanda, yes, it is the destination that should come, as I said earlier, in the top destination in the very, very near future.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Khan. Do I have time for some more questions? I have a question for Ambassador Hategeka. Can we go back to the fact that Rwanda was one of the first countries to implement a complete shutdown in Africa way back in March, and how you have a WTTC stamp of approval? So, because these things will matter a lot to the initial travelers. Can you say a few words about that, Ambassador?
Thank you again.
Hello.
Thank you, Rashid. Again, that is all because Rwanda cares more for our people, for the visitors. For us, really, safety and health of our people is a top priority. So early March, Rwanda was the first country to implement a complete lockdown, and well, of course, looking at all cases, most of the cases were being imported, and we really had to ensure the safety of our people. So the lockdown was followed by massive testing, contact tracing, treatment, and where we can say the effort is continuing, and it's all about solidarity between different partners, different countries, to ensure that we can manage the pandemic. But as well, we also know that life has to continue, and that is why, in trying to save the economy and the livelihoods of the people, we have had to reopen the economy. The stamp of approval that we got from WTTC is really to say that we have adopted the standardized procedures and guidelines for health and safety of our passengers. And as a country, we commit to that. And throughout our presentation, you saw that Rwanda continues to implement these measures. Any visitor who is coming is allowed 5 days to have tested for COVID and come up with a negative test certificate. And also upon arrival, we do another test, and we kind of keep them for just 24 hours. As soon as the results are out, people can go back to their business. And if they want to stay in their hotel, they can actually stay. So we take safety seriously. We continue to do that in these times of COVID. And that is why we encourage our people to visit Rwanda, because we've really taken these measures seriously. And once you're there, if you've not really come with the virus, chances are you'll not catch it in Rwanda.
Great, thank you so much. I'm just getting messages to stop asking more questions. We have overshot our time. I think I hand back to Sammy. Sammy, please take it in your capable hands.
Thank you so much, Rashi. Thank you so much to everybody for attending today, all the participants, and thank you for all the panelists. I think just to close, it would be great to hear some closing words from Your Excellency, Ambassador Emmanuel Tegeka, to just close off the whole webinar, and thank you all very much for attending.
Well, I want to thank you, Sammy. I want to thank Gulf Reps for the excellent hosting of this webinar. Of course, I want to thank our partners from Rwanda, RDB, and One and Only Resorts. And I also want to thank all our partners in UAE, Saudi Arabia. We got one from Oman. I only look forward to getting all our partners, our tour and travel agencies, packaging Rwanda either as a single destination or as part of the East African destination. I don't know whether we did mention that you can actually get a visa for East Africa for $100, and you can visit 3 countries, Uganda, Kenya, and Rwanda, only for the $100, and you get a 90-day visa for your visits. So going forward, this is the first webinar, but we're going to keep engaging. We're going to keep educating and raising awareness about this destination. And I can only bank on your support as usual. And I want to thank you and have a wonderful day and week ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I know there are a lot of questions that weren't answered. We will come back to you. We've got those questions noted, and we'll come back to you with the answers to those questions. Thank you all very much, and it's time for us to close the webinar here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.